Dinar shift, the landscape of global finance is often characterized by pronounced silence before pivotal events, where the most consequential changes are orchestrated far from the public eye within the deep architecture of banking and digital infrastructures. We are here today to embark on a vital exploration of the veiled activities currently unfolding around the Iraqi Dinar IQD. Movements that are generating an undeniable energy and a host of unusual, yet compelling, signals across the financial world. Many who follow currency markets closely are now observing what appears to be a systemic shift, marked by a typical behavior within the technical departments of major financial institutions. This isn't about speculation or conjecture, it's a careful examination of the documented patterns suggesting a significant preparatory phase is underway. We will dissect the nature of these hidden operations, explaining in plain terms what is being seen, what this activity signifies, and critically, what it does not imply, ensuring our viewers maintain a clear, factual understanding of this complex environment. A mounting wave of subtle, behind-the-scenes movements is capturing the focused attention of seasoned currency analysts and specialized technical teams globally. This collective observation is centered on what seems to be a meticulous, quiet preparation within the digital frameworks that manage global currency data and exchange. The essence of the speculation stems from the perceived acceleration of activities happening beneath the surface, operations that are typically dormant or follow a predictable, slow cadence. Questions are now being raised about why specific digital platforms are displaying unusual behavior, and why discussions surrounding back-end testing, system syncing, and infrastructure updates are escalating in frequency among those in the know. We're moving deeper than ever before, focusing solely on the factual evidence of system activity that suggests simulations related to the IQD profile are either running or being configured. The current atmosphere is completely distinct from the environment of mere weeks ago, prompting veteran watchers to suggest that a technical testing phase may have already been initiated. This assessment is not born of sensationalism, but from a grounded analysis of what experienced observers are documenting and why these observations carry substantial weight in a system historically defined by inactivity. The most significant development revolves around detailed reports of back and banking system updates. Global digital financial platforms are mandated to regularly synchronize their currency listings to comply with international regulatory shifts, new fiscal policies, or evolving international exchange standards. However, the observed intensity of syncing, refreshing, and system integrity checks around the IQD appears to be dramatically increasing at an uncharacteristic pace for a period generally considered quiet. These low-level back-end maneuvers often precede any substantial financial adjustment, whether that involves a policy revision, a new international exchange protocol, or even a deep system overhaul. While this intense technical activity does not by itself serve as confirmation of an immediate currency revaluation, it is irrefutable evidence of system movement. In a market segment where movement is a rarity, any new, accelerated pattern of activity instantly becomes a critical point of analysis. When financial systems initiate test values, rigorously check liquidity data feeds, or perform deep confirmations of a currency's digital profile, it is a definitive signal of preparation for something forthcoming. The outcome may not be a revaluation, it could be a routine compliance update or a standard technical refresh. Yet, the current pattern is noteworthy precisely because it aligns with long-held expectations that any major shift in the dinar's value would necessitate extensive, controlled test operations to guarantee stability and prevent technical disruption or system overload. Another core point fueling the discussion is the unusual behavior reported by a subset of users monitoring online financial tools, platforms, and dedicated currency metrics trackers. These specialized tools do not display official, real-time rates or confirmed value changes, but they are designed to flag when internal systems are undergoing a refresh or receiving back-end code injections and updates. In the past days, numerous independent observers have reported temporary system glitches, unexpected currency code resets, highly irregular timing and data updates, or rapid cycling through technical test formats. Crucially, these isolated events are fleeting and never confirm an impending revaluation, but their frequency and nature strongly suggest that a significant process is active within the broader digital financial ecosystem that manages the IQD. When a specific currency undergoes deep-level, internal testing within global financial systems, it often generates momentary flickers or anomalies in data tools that pull their information from those very systems, even if the temporary values generated are entirely non-official and used purely for simulation. This is the proof of activity, not proof of a revaluation. In a segment where financial operations are usually slow and entirely predictable, the sudden, noticeable increase in this type of digital noise has compelled serious financial watchers to give it their full attention. It's an indicator that the currency is now a focus of rigorous technical preparation. The argument surrounding system simulations forms a major part of our discussion today. Global financial infrastructures routinely execute test operations for diverse reasons, including compliance auditing, annual updates, pending policy implementation, internal structural changes, or proactive preparation for potential market movements. Multiple credible observers have recently surfaced reports indicating that full-scale simulations specifically involving the IQD's digital profile may be underway within certain large, digital financial infrastructures. These simulations are not an announcement that the dinar is revaluing today, this week, or even this month. Instead, they signal that the IQD is actively included in a technical testing and updating environment, which is interpreted by many watchers as a significant sign of system readiness. To operate effectively, expansive financial networks must ensure that any currency can be moved smoothly, securely, and with absolute accuracy before its enhanced international use can be deployed. This essential process demands weeks, if not months, of focused preparation and verification. The fact that observers are noting an escalation in this internal activity has ignited renewed interest in the possibility of a substantial forward step being taken. Whether these detailed simulations are related to routine compliance requirements or something far more significant, the timing of this acceleration is precisely what is drawing heightened scrutiny from the global financial community. Let us now address a factor that is frequently discussed by our viewers: the increased silence from official channels. When a financial or governmental institution is preparing for a change of major consequence, it is common practice for it to enter a profound quiet period. This deliberate silence is implemented to preempt confusion, avoid unauthorized information leaks, or curb premature market speculation. While silence is never conclusive proof of an action, it systematically creates the necessary internal space required for sensitive system testing, deep regulatory review, and internal sign-offs. Many people believe the current period of calm around Iraq's central financial environment is not a coincidence. Instead, this deliberate quietude may signify a crucial period of intensive back-end preparation and necessary system stabilization. If a nation intends to introduce a fundamentally stronger financial structure, refine its core currency procedures, or strategically align its fiscal operations with demanding international standards, a sustained quiet period is a standard operational procedure. During these critical phases, dedicated financial teams can perform final back-end integrity checks, test high-volume liquidity channels, and confirm the flawless operation of all digital transfer gateways. This rigorous process is vital, as even a minor technical flaw could lead to major market delays or profound confusion. The current quiet is notable because it follows months of highly visible reforms, public policy movements, and active announcements. When a period of intense activity suddenly transitions into deep silence, financial watchers instinctively wonder if the necessary hidden phase of preparation has begun. A central element of today's discussion is the concept of controlled testing. Within sophisticated currency systems, controlled testing is the most critical preparatory phase. Before a currency can advance into a new stage of international use, systems must be tested for internal transfer efficiency, digital conversion accuracy, international routing reliability, and regulatory validation compliance. These tests operate exclusively using simulated data. They do not impact the public exchange rates, nor do they directly influence lev markets. Their sole purpose is to determine with certainty whether the underlying infrastructure can manage large-scale, high-volume operations without failure. A significant number of currency observers believe that these essential controlled tests may be running in the background right now, a conclusion drawn from the unusual system behavior noted by those who track precise financial timing cycles and platform refresh intervals. When a financial system begins to test currency data, it initiates small isolated checks, which scale up to larger verification runs, culminating in broad stability tests to confirm robustness. These verification checks occasionally manifest as minor data fluctuations in tracking tools, momentary blank data fields, or swift, temporary resets within exchange platforms. This cluster of activity becomes profoundly significant when it occurs simultaneously across multiple independent tracking tools, especially when it involves the IQD, a currency that historically exhibits extremely low levels of back-end system activity. Another crucial element of this update involves the timing of the observed activity. Many observers hold the view that the current global economic climate is exerting pressure on numerous nations to quickly adjust their domestic financial systems, modernize their core banking networks, and elevate their currencies to a more internationally stable position. Iraq, having systematically built a new financial structure over recent years, is believed by some analysts to be reaching a critical point of readiness. The timing of the increased back-end activity appears to coincide precisely with a moment when Iraq could be positioning itself to strengthen its currency profile or fundamentally update the methods by which it interfaces with global markets. To reiterate, none of these observed signals confirm a specific date or guarantee a revaluation. However, the unique alignment of broad global financial movement, intense digital infrastructure development in the region, and the documented increase in back-end testing has collectively created a powerful sense that a meaningful, structured process is currently in motion. Timing is paramount, as major economic shifts almost always follow a protracted buildup of internal preparation. Analysts suggest the current signals are strong evidence that this preparatory phase is potentially nearing its full completion. One of the most compelling questions is why financial institutions would commit resources to test a currency that has not yet undergone a value change. The answer is based on operational necessity. Testing must precede movement. If a financial system anticipates any kind of change, be it a regulatory refinement, a new exchange protocol, or a fundamental restructuring of the currency format, the testing must be meticulously completed beforehand. This operational mandate is why many watchers are convinced that the hidden activity currently underway is not random, but part of a carefully structured, multi-phase preparation process. Test runs are the system's way of checking for critical errors, confirming data integrity, and ensuring the infrastructure can flawlessly support high-volume transactions when required. Without this essential testing, any major shift runs the risk of causing significant systemic disruption. Therefore, the fact that observers are reporting increased back-end activity makes complete logical sense if systems are preparing for potential operational adjustments. Even if this activity is not directly related to a revaluation, it undeniably signifies that major financial institutions are dedicating serious technical attention to the IQD's underlying infrastructure, which in itself is a substantial development worthy of note. Let us now focus on the patterns of digital behavior that have been consistently observed over the last several weeks. Watchers are documenting an escalation in synchronization cycles, noticeably faster refresh intervals, irregular timing for data resets, and technical behavior that deviates significantly from the typical slow pace of platforms managing IQD-related data. These emerging patterns are crucial because back-end financial systems rarely alter their standard update cycles unless new parameters or procedures are being prepared for implementation. Even the smallest changes demand a testing phase. The unusual behavior now being observed appears to be consistent across multiple, distinct systems, which adds an elevated level of significance. When a single platform exhibits unusual behavior, it can often be attributed to routine, isolated maintenance. However, when a collection of disparate platforms display similar simultaneous behavior, especially centered around the same currency, it strongly suggests a systemic, system-wide adjustment is being coordinated. Watchers interpret these patterns as indicative of a period of coordinated technical testing, and coordinated testing is generally understood to signal preparation for a change in how that currency is processed, handled, or displayed within the interconnected financial infrastructure. A major theme in our analysis today is the crucial role of digital infrastructure. The global financial ecosystem is transitioning rapidly into a new era of digitized banking, instant digital payments, and instantaneous international transactions. Iraq has been making long-term, significant investments in modern banking systems, advanced payment technologies, and streamlined digital platforms for years. When a country undertakes such a comprehensive upgrade of its financial structure, its currency must undergo meticulous integration into these updated systems to ensure its seamless movement in the new digital environment. Many currency watchers believe that the current surge in IQD-related technical activity may be directly tied to Iraq's profound digital transformation efforts. If new digital platforms are being activated or subjected to rigorous testing, the underlying currency profile would necessarily need to be verified, updated, and precisely synchronized with global exchange systems. These large-scale digital upgrades offer a plausible explanation for the observed increase in back-end system activity. Whether a revaluation is an inherent part of this modernization process remains an open question, but the sheer volume of activity points towards the preparation of something structurally significant. Next, we must address the nature of hidden testing. Financial institutions maintain a strict policy of not publicly announcing when they are running internal tests. These operations are conducted quietly and confidentially to prevent market confusion, stop unwarranted speculation, or avoid misinterpretation. If a bank were to run a temporary high test value and the public perceived it as a real, live rate, it could trigger widespread market panic or irrational excitement. Therefore, testing is always executed in a quiet environment. This hidden operational nature is what makes the current situation so compelling. Observers suggest the activity being documented now may be part of these quiet, internal test operations, which would perfectly explain why tools designed to read back-end data are displaying uncharacteristic behavior. Hidden testing does not guarantee a revaluation outcome, but it absolutely guarantees that technical teams are actively preparing the system for something. The core question revolves around the nature of that something. Some believe it is a routine, extensive system update, while others believe it is the essential preparation for a major forward step. Historically, hidden testing is often the earliest detectable sign that a new, fundamental stage is approaching, even if the public remains completely unaware. Another critical question is why these digital movements appear to be accelerating right now. Many observers believe that intensifying global pressure across economies is compelling countries to reassess and modernize their financial structures at a speedier pace than ever before. Iraq, as a developing financial system, is actively working to strengthen its international standing, improve its currency's profile, and align its operations with demanding global standards. When this type of global financial pressure increases, nations frequently accelerate their domestic reform processes. The recent uptick in activity may reflect Iraq's determined push to rapidly modernize its systems, stabilize its core banking network, and prepare for sustained international growth. Even if the current surge in back-end activity is not linked to an immediate change in value, it is irrefutable evidence that Iraq is focusing on its financial system's operational integrity at a serious, accelerated pace. The speed of the updates, the increase in visible technical movements, and the rapid synchronization of digital platforms all suggest that a large-scale, coordinated project is actively underway. This is a sign of serious commitment to modernization. Now, let us consider the idea of a phased approach. Many analysts anticipate that if the dinar were ever to undergo an international market adjustment, it would be executed in a methodical series of stages. This process would involve first, system-wide updating, second, the completion of thorough back-end testing, third, the rigorous preparation of liquidity channels, and finally, public access and implementation. This complex process demands time, careful strategic planning, and, crucially, quiet preparation. The activity being observed now could represent the early technical phases of this anticipated process. While this observation does not provide any guarantee of specific timing or confirm any dates, it demonstrates a clear alignment with the procedural steps that analysts expect to precede any major financial movement. The phased nature of financial shifts is essential to understand nothing happens instantaneously. The systems must be verified as ready, platforms must be stable under load, and digital channels must be tested for resilience. The fact that professional observers are seeing signs of these anticipated early technical phases lends significant credibility to the idea that a comprehensive testing process may be firmly underway. This update also draws attention to the sustained interest from global financial watchers. Many individuals who track the IQD's progress meticulously have stated that the last few weeks feel fundamentally different from previous years. Instead of relying solely on isolated rumors or unverified claims, there are now observable, quantifiable signs of system movement. These signs include transient back-end feed flickers, temporary shifts in data display, and an overall increase in digital platform activity. This has led analysts to strongly question whether the technical environment surrounding the IQD is entering a more advanced stage of development. Global watchers are paying focused attention because these types of system movements are rare when they do occur. They typically signal technical preparation for something ahead. Even if the ultimate outcome is not a revaluation, the activity clearly indicates that the IQD is receiving an elevated level of technical focus from specialized departments and global financial systems than is typical, which is a development considered highly significant in itself. Another vital aspect of today's discussion is the concept of stability testing. When a financial infrastructure anticipates a major increase in data traffic, a higher volume of transactions, or entirely new operational requirements, it must execute rigorous stress tests. These tests are designed to guarantee that the system can handle a large number of concurrent users, manage the movement of high-value transactions, and successfully navigate complex international routing without failure. Some observers hypothesize that the current back-end activity concerning the IQD may be directly linked to these necessary stability tests. If new digital pathways or updated exchange protocols are being configured, the entire system must be tested to ensure it can successfully manage the resultant increased load. Stability testing is a standard, normal component of any comprehensive financial modernization, but when it involves a currency like the IQD, it transforms into a key analytical signal for watchers who have tracked the currency's trajectory for years. The possibility that stability tests may be running now is a primary reason why many believe that larger, structural steps may be forthcoming. There is also the significant question circulating: why are certain international banking platforms showing more frequent currency refresh cycles? Typically, currencies with stable or internationally fixed values update slowly because there is no technical need for constant adjustment. However, in recent weeks, observers have noted faster digital cycling, increased frequency in data resets, and irregular update times on specific platforms. This has led watchers to conclude that the back-end currency profiles may be undergoing intensive verification checks or synchronization updates, possibly related to new compliance requirements or as part of a larger technical preparation process. What makes this moment unique is the unprecedented combination of multiple platforms exhibiting simultaneous activity. When disparate financial systems display similar, concurrent movements, analysts generally interpret this as evidence that the currency is being prepared for a broader, integrated role across various global financial networks. This synchronized technical effort is a powerful signal of systemic readiness. Let us now address the concept of signals. In the field of financial analysis, signals are minor pieces of behavioral data that, when aggregated, strongly suggest that larger underlying patterns are forming. The current signals surrounding the dinar include an uptick in digital activity, highly unusual refresh cycles, documented back-end testing, a noticeable quiet period from official sources, and accelerated system syncing across multiple platforms. Any one signal might be dismissed as routine, but when this clustering of multiple, consistent signals appears together, financial analysts are compelled to pay close attention. This specific pattern has become too consistent and synchronized over the last several days to be ignored. Even if no immediate public action is taken, the mere occurrence of these multiple, consistent signals strongly suggests that the IQD is now in a genuine stage of significant technical transition or advanced preparation. Watchers view this as a positive technical development because such signals are the common precursor that often appears just before major structural changes are fully implemented. The discussion also includes the important possibility of internal rate testing. Internal rates are entirely non-public and are used exclusively inside financial systems to simulate how a currency would react and behave under a diverse range of market conditions. These simulations are vital for helping banks test liquidity flows, international routing protocols, and system stability under stress. Recent speculation suggests that internal rate tests may be occurring now, prompted by the observation of unusual system movements. While there is no public confirmation, the technical behavior observed across multiple platforms aligns with the anticipated behavior when internal testing is actively being conducted. Internal rate testing does not confirm a revaluation is imminent, but it is definitive proof that the currency's technical infrastructure is either being prepared or significantly adjusted for future use. This is yet another reason why so many experienced watchers believe a serious, hidden process is actively underway behind the scenes. Another point worth discussing is the global economic interest in Iraq's economy. Over the past few years, Iraq has been dedicated to strengthening its national financial system, increasing foreign direct investment, working to stabilize its currency value, and undertaking a modernization of its banking network. Global institutions have expressed clear interest in deepening their cooperation and engagement with Iraq, which has naturally heightened expectations that the country may be readying itself for a stronger, more confident international position. The back-end activity now being observed may be intrinsically linked to Iraq's continued trajectory of economic progress and its drive for alignment with stringent international financial standards. If Iraq is successfully building a more robust, stable, and modern financial system, it is a logical operational necessity that its currency would undergo intensive updates, mandatory testing, and system-wide integration. Even if this entire current activity is solely part of a long-term modernization master plan, the sheer level of movement is an undeniable sign that Iraq is taking profoundly serious technical steps behind the public curtain. One of the most essential topics for our viewers today is the question of whether holders of the currency should feel concern about potentially missing out on any development. The clear answer is no. The current heightened activity is occurring entirely within internal, technical systems, and any major public change would be communicated through official, public announcement channels. Currency holders do not need to and should not take any action during these back-end testing phases. In fact, the most prudent course of action for any holder is to maintain a sense of calm, prioritize staying accurately informed, and strictly avoid reacting to unverified rumors or market speculation. The digital movements happening now are strictly confined to a technical environment that is completely inaccessible to the general public. No one can legally exchange the currency early, no one is missing out on an opportunity, and no public exchange rate has changed as a result of this testing. The core purpose of today's comprehensive update is not to assert that anything has immediately happened, but to calmly explain why professional watchers are focusing their attention on this unusual surge in system activities. Understanding this bigger, technical picture empowers holders to remain fully informed without becoming victims of misinformation or unnecessary panic. Let us further explore the idea of system readiness. A global financial system must achieve a state of complete, verified readiness before any major operational step can be taken. Readiness involves updated digital pathways, confirmed stability of liquidity channels, officially verified currency profiles, and fully tested routing systems. Many observers believe that the current back-end activity is the strongest evidence yet that these essential readiness checks may be actively underway. Readiness checks are a common operational precursor before any changes in financial structure, major regulatory adjustments, or the rollout of comprehensive modernization efforts. These checks serve to ensure that the system will not catastrophically crash, freeze, or malfunction under pressure. The fact that watchers are seeing signs consistent with readiness checks lends significant weight to the argument that the IQD is advancing deeper into its necessary technical preparation phase. Another major facet of this discussion centers on technical behavior that is consistent with synchronization. Synchronization is the process where distinct financial systems update their currency databases to ensure they are compliant with the latest international operational standards. This process is necessary to guarantee that all systems display completely consistent, accurate information. In recent days, observers have noted unmistakable signs that synchronization cycles involving the IQD are happening with an increased abnormal frequency. This suggests that the currency profile is being refreshed and verified more often than the established norm. Synchronization does not as proof of a value change, but it is clear evidence that the currency's technical data is being updated and rigorously checked within the major financial networks. This specific type of system movement is rare for the IQD, which is why it is commanding the current focused attention of financial watchers. Synchronization cycles are typically observed to increase just prior to major system updates, significant compliance changes, or large-scale international adjustments, making this particular activity exceptionally noteworthy in the current context. Finally, let's consider liquidity preparation. If a currency is being prepared to expand its role within international markets, the underlying system must rigorously check all of its liquidity channels to ensure seamless and efficient movement of funds. Liquidity testing guarantees that transactions can be completed without undue delays, technical friction, or critical errors. Watchers believe that the current back-end activity may include these crucial liquidity checks, which are essential for confirming the structural stability of the entire financial system. Liquidity preparation does not confirm that a revaluation is happening today, but it does demonstrate that the system is actively preparing itself for a significantly higher volume of usage and exchange. The possibility that liquidity channels are involved in the current back-end activity is one of the strongest technical signals that a meaningful structural shift is taking place behind the scenes, even if the public remains unable to see the finer details of the process. The comprehensive conclusion of today's update focuses on the bigger picture. Regardless of whether an immediate value change is imminent, the hidden activity now unfolding inside global financial systems is factual, clearly noticeable, and fundamentally meaningful. Analysts are documenting a level of back-end technical movement that has not been witnessed in a substantial period. Digital platforms are refreshing more often than normal. Currency codes are displaying highly unusual temporary behavior. Back-end data feeds are flickering with activity, and systems appear to be synchronizing at an accelerated frequency. All of this combined activity suggests strongly that specialized technical teams are actively preparing the infrastructure for a larger, subsequent stage in the dinar's ongoing financial development. The central purpose of this comprehensive update is to ensure that our viewers understand these critical signals clearly, free from sensationalism, without misinformation, and devoid of any false promises. Something profound is happening in the technical background. It may be part of a long-term modernization effort. It may be advanced preparation for change, or it may be the early technical stages of a major structural shift. Whatever the exact nature of the activity, this hidden work is real, and expert watchers around the world are paying rigorous attention. Stay calm, stay informed, and remain alert, because the next visible steps, whatever they may ultimately be, will be delivered with clarity when the technical process reaches its intended public conclusion.